All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are diving into one of the most incredible frontiers in all of medicine, the science of literally rebuilding the human body, piece by piece.
I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. What if, instead of waiting on a long, uncertain list for a donor organ, we could just grow a new one? A new kidney, a new section of bone, even new skin, all made perfectly for you.
Now this might sound like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's very real. It's the whole point of a field called tissue engineering. You see, it was created to solve a massive, heartbreaking problem. There are way more people who need organ transplants than there are available organs. It's a gap that's only getting bigger.
So at the very heart of this whole field is this amazing tool called a scaffold. The idea is brilliant in its simplicity. You give the body a temporary template, a kind of biological construction site, that it can use to heal and rebuild itself from the inside out.
The best way to picture it is like building a skyscraper. First, they place this temporary scaffold right where the body is injured. Then, your own cells are like the construction workers. They show up, they move into the framework, and they start building brand new tissue. And here's the magic part. As that new tissue gets stronger, the scaffold just disappears. It biodegrades, safely absorbed by your body. What's left behind? Brand new, healthy tissue that's fully a part of you.
Okay, so the concept is awesome, right? But it brings up this huge question. If you're going to put this thing inside a person's body to rebuild an organ, what in the world do you make it out of?
Well, scientists basically had two big buckets of materials to pick from. On one side, you've got natural polymers. These are things pulled from nature, like collagen, which is the main protein that holds our bodies together, or even something called chitosan, which actually comes from the shells of shrimp and crabs. Then on the other side, you have synthetic polymers. These are engineered from scratch in a lab, materials like PLA, which you might have seen in biodegradable plastics. So the natural materials have some huge advantages. Your body tends to love them. They're what we call biocompatible. And they're even bioactive, meaning they can actively send signals to your cells, telling them where to go and what to do. But, and it's a big but, they're often pretty weak, kind of flimsy, and it's really hard to control how fast they break down.
Now, synthetic polymers are basically the exact opposite. From an engineer's perspective, they're a dream. They are super strong, you can tweak their properties to be exactly what you need, and they break down at a perfectly predictable rate. The problem? Biologically, they're kind of, well, dumb. They don't have those natural landing spots for cells, and sometimes they can even repel water, which is a big problem inside our bodies.
So you see the dilemma, right? Scientists were stuck. Do you pick the material that your body recognizes and loves, but that's just too weak for the job? Or do you go with the strong, reliable material that your cells pretty much ignore? It was a real roadblock.
And the breakthrough, the moment that changed everything, was when researchers realized the answer wasn't either or. The answer was both.
And you don't have to take my word for it. The science is really clear on this. A major review of the research puts it plainly. A scaffold made from a composite, a blend of both natural and synthetic materials, is the key. It's how you can finally check all the boxes and meet all the demands of the human body.
This hybrid approach lets us design the perfect scaffold by hitting 4 key targets. 1, it has to be biocompatible, so the body doesn't reject it. 2, it has to be biodegradable, dissolving at exactly the same speed the new tissue is growing. 3, it needs the right mechanical strength. You know, a scaffold for bone needs to be way stronger than one for skin. And 4, it has to be porous, like a sponge, so cells can move in and nutrients can flow through.
And this chart just shows it perfectly. Look, on its own, the natural polymer is pretty weak. The synthetic is really strong. But that hybrid composite in the middle, it's optimized. It's in that Goldilocks zone. You can tune the strength to be exactly what you need for that specific part of the body. You get the best of both worlds.
So you might be thinking, how on earth do they build these incredibly intricate structures? Well, this is where things get really futuristic. We're talking about cutting-edge techniques like 3D bioprinting, where scientists can actually print these scaffolds layer by layer, sometimes even with living cells mixed right in.
So the big takeaway here is this. By intelligently blending the biological smarts of natural materials with the engineered strength of synthetic ones, this is no longer just a theory. We are getting so much closer to a future of custom-built, on-demand replacement parts for our own bodies. All of this work is laying the foundation for a future that really used to be pure fantasy. And it just leaves you with this incredible, mind-boggling question. How long is it really going to be until we can 3D print a new heart on demand? The journey has definitely begun.